this special message is to the great platform of AllHipHop.com. We are so thankful to Allah for you great soldiers. On behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam and all of the local organizing committees that worked hard for the Justice or Else movement, we appreciate all the work that you did. Did you know that on 10/15, that the primary audience that showed up that day and showed out that day were the young soldiers from the black, the brown, and the red community? Whenever the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan put out the call, justice or else, it separated the old and the fearful from the young and the courageous. In other words, when he put out justice or else, it separated the soldiers from the suckers. So to all of you soldiers that showed up 10/10/15, know that justice or else is not a moment, it is in fact a movement. And we have a bad history as a people, brothers and sisters. We like to come to marches and gatherings and meetings and say, man, that meeting was something, and then go home and do nothing. But this time, whenever you leave the mall, this time we are asking that all the soldiers not go home and sit around and brag about how great the actual gathering was, but let's go to work and bring into existence what we agreed to on that day. Number one at the top of that list as an action item and marching instruction that God gave the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And keep in mind, brothers and sisters, when you hear from the minister, you are hearing a man that has formulated an agenda that comes, number one, from his deep prayer and meditation to the Supreme Being. Number two, his analysis of the great program of his teacher, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and multiplied by the suggestions and ideas of the great thinkers of our people in the past as well as in the present. And from that, these action items have been presented. Number one at the top of that list, this year, we're going to black out Black Friday and we're going to boycott Christmas. Dr. King said in 1968, after marching in, laying in, striking in, having dogs sick on us, food spitting, he said basically in so many words, we got to do something different. We feel in pain, we must find a way to redistribute the pain. And he taught on economic withdrawal. So this year, when Christmas time rolls around, we're saying up with Jesus and down with Santa. We're saying let's take Christmas from this fat imaginary white man in a tricked out fireman suit from the North Pole, and let's give it back to Jesus. This year, we're going to discipline our dollar, and from Black Friday all the way through the first of the year, we are not going to spend the dime. What we are saying to the white power structure, to the police that are killing us in the streets, to all systems of injustice is that we won't shop until you stop. Number two, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan asked us to formulate in every city and all over the country 10,000 fearless men and 10,000 fearless women whose job is to move into the community as the peacemakers of our hoods. It's our job to go in and stop black on black crime. It's our job to make sure that the elderly have safe passage through the streets of our community. It's our job to make sure that our children can get on the bus and go to school without having to worry about some pedophile or molester bothering them on the bus stop. And it's our job as the peacemakers, the 10,000 fearless men and the 10,000 fearless women, to make sure that we regulate the affairs and stop all of the corrupt and rogue police that are coming in our community, killing us, planting drugs on us, etc. That's the job of the 10,000 fearless. Number three, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he asked of us that we must get back in and take over the educational system. We must develop a curriculum that is rooted in the self-knowledge that will make a black child grow up to become a great black man or a great black woman. So all of the great thinkers of our people, find a local organizing committee by going to justiceorelse.com. If you've got a smartphone, go and get the app Justice or Else. If you've got a cell phone, just text Unity to 99000 and you'll stay plugged into a direct connect on all the leads of information. But show up at that LOC meeting if you are an educator. And let's come up with a curriculum that we can offer to our schools in the ghetto to make sure our black children grow up to be as great as they are born to be. Number 4 on that list, he asked us to register our people to vote. No, not to register as a Democrat or a Republican. No, he wants us to register as an independent. And let's hold our vote until a candidate speaks to the justice that we need as a people, and speaks to how they're going to do something to get America out of the crosshairs of the fire shot of God's judgment on this country. Number 5, he said to us that he wants us to study the ant. Look at the function of an ant as a colony, and let's adopt those characteristics. Do you know ants don't feel personal pain? No, they only think about the good of the whole. Did you know that when an ant is moving, they know nothing about the other ant's job, nor do they know the whole picture? Therefore, they put all of their time, talent, treasure, mind, money, and muscle 100% on their specific job that they offer to their colony. What if we did the same thing? Did you know that ants, whenever you see an ant, sometime you'll see a mound build, kick it over. Ants don't get sad, depressed, and boycott and stand outside and strike. You see a few inches over, they back rebuilding the mound again. And what if we operated like that? The ant, have you ever seen a chip moving down the sidewalk and you know you're not tripping, but you kick it over to make sure? And when you look under that, there's a little bitty ant carrying it? Why? Because ants do not register in their brain impossibility. What if black people thought like that? Ants also, if they find a piece of bread, they leave a crumb trail back all the way to the colony so other ants can find their way to get what that one ant has found. Well, what if all of our successful brothers and sisters in our community that have become architects or engineers or entrepreneurs, what if they establish a crumb trail back to the next generation, making sure that the rest of the young soldiers could find their way to becoming as successful as the great ones have become? I think that we'll be in a great, great position. The other point that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made for us, he asked us to join on to an LOC, a local organizing committee. If you look at your app, Justice or Else, you'll see at the top right corner, 10,000. Touch it. Register yourself to be one of the 10,000 fearless men or women. Then go down and you'll see another app called LOC. Touch that button. And when you press that on your screen, you'll find out the time, the date, the place, and phone number of the soldiers in your city that are working to make what we agreed to on 1010 a reality. 1010, Justice or Else, is not a moment. It is, in fact, a movement. I pray that all of the young soldiers that showed up that day will say, you know what? I read about what they did at the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I read about what they did in the March of '63. I read about and I heard about the soldiers at the Million Man March. But I'm glad that Farrakhan called us in 2015, because it gives this generation an opportunity to strike our blow for freedom in the dispensation of time we live in. Come on, brothers and sisters, all the young soldiers, come on the front line. Scripture says, old men are for counsel, but young men are for war. So let's get into the army of God. Let's be of the 10,000 fearless, and let's fight for freedom, not till we get to DC or 1010, but let's fight until justice is applied equally to all, irregardless of creed or class or color. Thank you for listening. I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.